So part of our preparation steps that we've learned by experience is you got to remove your clock that makes noises and chimes down into the garage so that you don't capture that on video. Okay, welcome to this week's episode of Luv Subbin. And before we get into what we're doing, we've got some good news.
We are excited to announce that the Luv Sub is in for service now, and that they're getting looked at.
Yep, we got an email from Airstream, so it's actually in the service bay. It went in Friday before this video comes out, and it'll probably be about a week for it to...
Yeah, it's going to take a while for them to take it apart and put it back together again.
So again, thanks for everybody for hanging out with us in this sabbatical. But one of the things we did when we first put the Airstream away was we asked people like, hey, what are some ideas for some of our videos moving forward here?
Yeah, and we got a whole bunch of good ideas, and we appreciate that a lot for the feedback. But one of the ideas was how we actually put together a video.
Yes, and so that's what we're going to do this episode. Now, if you're tuning into this video and you're looking for a hardcore, intense tutorial on the ins and outs of YouTube
and the techniques. And,
we're not that.
No, this is going to be a loose overview.
For our fans and for the folks who just might want to know an overview of what it takes to make a video. So that's going to be the subject of this week's episode.
Yep.
All right, so let's go ahead and talk about some of the stuff that we use, because people have asked us on occasion.
Some of the equipment that we use, yeah.
Yep, so the first thing we'll talk about is our camera, and we use a Canon EOS M6 for most of our shooting, and you can see that right here. We had to take the camera off to show it. And this is being filmed with the iPhone, so you can kind of see the difference with the iPhone versus the camera.
As far as quality.
Yep, this is the Canon EOS M6, the big screen in the back.
Yep.
And when we're using the wind muff that attaches right here. A lot of them attach here, up top, but this Canon, unfortunately, the screen flips up.
Yep.
Does that number, so you can't put anything on the hot shoe. So, but yeah, this is the primary camera for shooting. Now, one of the things that videos will talk to you about is, you know, you don't need a bunch of gear. You don't need all kinds of expensive stuff.
Yeah.
Most people just use their iPhone.
A lot of people use their iPhones.
And for the first couple of years, that's all we used was our iPhone.
Yep.
So iPhone is definitely one of the ways in which you can shoot your YouTube videos. The other cameras that we use are, we also have an Insta360.
So if you're looking at that shot in the Luv Subbies of Rich running through the woods, people are asking questions about how we got that shot.
Right. And I was running, holding, and this is an invisible selfie stick with a 360-degree camera.
Yep.
And so, as you can see here, I'm running, I'm holding the box, but I'm also holding the end of the selfie stick.
Yeah,
So
you sort of have to camouflage it to make it look realistic.
So, yeah, that's one of the cameras we use. We also use a Hero 3 GoPro, which I hate.
Yep.
I hate everything about this GoPro camera.
Well, it's also an old GoPro, too.
It's a Hero 3 from 2013.
Yeah, so it's ancient.
Yeah, it doesn't have the screen. The battery lasts for just a few minutes.
Yep.
We usually use this only for water shots, because I've got a water casing around it. So if we're going to do like an underwater shot or something like that, we'll use the Hero GoPro.
Yep.
We also, our drone is a DJI Mavic Mini, which is this little guy right here.
Yep.
And
it took that picture of the wagon wheel of the wagon wheel rally.
Yeah, so when we don't try and use a lot of drone shots. We try and use them when appropriate. But yeah, this is small. It's lightweight.
Portable.
And I do have a FAA license to fly this, which you're required to do if you're monetized.
If you're monetized, and you get paid.
Yep. So we have that.
Okay.
So the other thing is, people always say, too, that you can get away with some bad lighting sometimes because you can do that in post-production.
Yeah, sometimes you can correct that.
But the one thing you can't correct for is crappy sound. So, you know, when you just use a regular camera, there's nothing worse on a video than wind noise in my mind. So we have what we call a wind muff.
That's a wind muff.
So that's used for the big camera.
Yep.
We also have the wireless 2 from Rode.
That's what I'm wearing right
She's
here.
got the lapel mic, and we also have this
microphone stand,
which is really cool because you just take this little guy off here,
and it attaches right in.
And the Rode, so it's not a separate microphone; it's just a casing.
Yep.
The sound system is the same as what she's using, so we use that for our sound system, and that's pretty much. We do have stabilizers for the camera, but they're heavy. You have to balance them. And we are, however, thinking our next purchase is probably going to be to replace the big camera with a DJI Osmo, which are the little ones. And that combines stabilization.
And a little bit more portability because our camera is pretty heavy.
It's lightweight. When you're holding the thing out like this, doing a selfie kind of thing.
And it's a little less intrusive than a big camera as well.
Yeah. So that's kind of the gear we use and what we use. Why don't we go ahead? We're going to shoot a video, and then we're going to show you how we turn that video into a actual YouTube video.
Yep.
We'll show you at the end of this video all the steps we go through to YouTube to get it actually uploaded and in. For example, YouTube just now has a brand new thing where we have to certify whether we have any AI generated images that could lead to somebody thinking it was real.
Yes.
We have to certify either yes or no. So we'll show you all those steps that we go through. Cindy's going to go ahead and what are you going to make?
We're going to do a Cooking with Cindy video,
Yep.
and as the backbone for this test of how we make this video. And I'm going to be making some butternut squash soup.
Yep. So let's go ahead, head off into the kitchen. You can see there's Cindy's surface, and because it's a cooking show, we're going to get an overhead view, which is just the GoPro on a tripod, being kind of sitting up top there. And then we'll go ahead, we'll also gather some additional views with the Insta360, and I'll have my main camera.
So we're going to start by setting our oven to 375. Let that get started up while we do the rest. We're going to start with our butternut squash soup recipe. So for this recipe, you will need 1 butternut squash. This one's about 4 pounds. 32 ounces of chicken broth. 1 cup of onions chopped. 1 small leek, chopped and rinsed. 2 celery stalks. 1 garlic clove minced. A ½ cup of cream. 2 tablespoons of dill for a garnish. And some olive oil to saute.
Okay, so this is the part of the video that I get to take part in, so I'm going to do the cleaving.
He's going to cut the butternut squash off at the root and the bottom. And then he's going to cut it in half lengthwise, being very careful.
Because my cleaver is sharp.
All right, we're going to open it up. So next step, we're going to remove the seeds. Just to loosen it up. And then we're just going to scoop this out. So once these are cleaned out, we're going to put them on the cookie sheet, and we're going to sprinkle them with a little bit of olive oil. Not a whole lot. We're just going to rub this olive oil all over. Just like that, and we're going to put some salt and pepper on them before we put them in the oven. So we're going to put this into a 375-degree oven for 30 minutes or until a knife goes through it and comes out smooth.
Oh yeah.
Through, clean, and it's ready to go. And we're just gonna let it sit out until it cools enough so that we can get the squash out. So when the squash is cool to the touch, you want to just use a spoon and you're just going to cut out the flesh of the squash, leaving the skin. So you're going to start by coating the pan with about a tablespoon of olive oil, and you're going to let that heat up over probably about a medium-high heat. So there's the onion, the leek that has been taken out of the water and dried. We're going to throw in the celery next. And we're going to give that a little saute until they're soft. So our 30-minute timer is up, and you can see that's nicely cooked. So the next step is to add your cream.
So what is this you're using right here?
This is my hand blender. It actually runs without having to be hooked up to a outlet.
So you can use this while boondocking, you can
Yes.
blend soups and stuff like that.
Yes.
I believe Emerald called this a boat motor.
You just want to blend until all your chunks are nice and smooth. little bit of fresh dill on top. And we're ready to try it out.
All right, let's give it a test.
Let's give it a test.
All right, there it is. It's all plated up. Let's go ahead and give it a taste.
Yep. Let's see how it tastes. It's got a nice creaminess.
Very creamy. The dill on top is nice.
The dill on top is nice. The salt and pepper is very well balanced. And you get that hint of nuttiness from the squash. It's so good.
Butternut.
Butternut.
All right, let's go ahead and turn this into a video. All right, well, that soup was excellent. We had fun making that. So we'll take all of our footage, we'll download it to our program. We're using Adobe Premiere Elements. But again, if you're using a phone, just use whatever's on your phone. I think a lot of people who use Macs use Final Cut. But we're going to start here. So everyone starts with the opening screen. That'll go ahead and load. And so this is the opening screen. And it's got, for example, what you might be familiar with, the song. All the little stuff up here. And so you can see that all this here is the title, the copyright logo, all that stuff sits on top of it. So next thing to do is that we're going to add media. And then we're going to go here. There's 307. And we're going to take everything we've got there. And we're going to bring it into the project, basically. The project is all saved. And now we can begin the editing process. And the first step in that is usually putting in our prequel right at the beginning here. We do a prequel. You can comment below as to whether you think a prequel is a good thing or a bad thing. One of the things that we do that not every YouTuber does is their prequels will oftentimes, you'll see it later on in the video. We make it a point never to show that prequel later on in the video, so you don't have to watch something again. I hate when people do that. And it kind of sets the stage. So now all of our project assets are here. So I had an idea that this would be our prequel. Dump that into the shot right there. Kind of crop it up a little bit. So this is the workspace here. You can see the time marker. We don't want that little first part there. Delete that and close the gap. All right, that's our prequel. Get rid of that end part. And then we'll go ahead and see how that finishes up.
All right, so I take over at some point. I usually rough in the basic video, and especially if it's a cooking video, I will do a lot of the editing at this point in time. So
yeah, for technical videos, usually I do a lot of the editing, the roughing in.
For the how-to technical videos. So here we are going to start with our opening screen, it looks like. I'm going to throw that in there first. You know, we just usually cut out the beginning part right there and delete. And I'm just going to start putting in the pieces. So maybe that one we'll start with because it's preheating the oven. And so I'll just rough in from there. So that's how we do it. All right, so it's time for me to look for music. I usually do it towards the end of putting together the video. I'm going to select this one right here, Happy Little Song. So we're going to use that one, and we're going to download it and put it into our file.
So who do we use for music?
We use Epidemic Sound, which is a copyright-free music website.
And what are some of the things you're looking for when you're looking for music?
Well, it depends on what mood I'm trying to capture. If it's a kind of like, for example, when we did the Luv Subbin video at the beginning, I kind of wanted a epic kind of sounding music to illustrate the fact that you were on a mission, and other times maybe I want something just sort of happy and bouncy. So Epidemic Sound costs about $15 a month, I think.
Yep. You can also get sound effects from Epidemic, right?
Yep, we can get sound effects. So you can see I added the music to my file here in the media file. So I'm going to put that into the video where I want to start the music. So
And voice and music go below the timeline, right?
the voice and the music go below the timeline. So I'm going to be adding it starting right here, and we will edit it in to make a smooth bit of B-roll.
Okay, so Cindy and I have gone back multiple times. She edits, I edit, and we've come up with a timeline that we think is good. We'll review it until there's absolutely no errors. We'll sit back, and then we'll go ahead and have our program convert it into an MP4 file, which YouTube can then use to upload. So I've started the upload process here by going to the Create button in YouTube. And so I've labeled our video as how we make a YouTube video. Now that's just what I do. Cindy then is going to go back. She's going to run some analytics on it and see how that title stacks up. But usually things that say how to or how we do something or things like that usually do pretty well in the YouTube algorithm. We'll then put in our description. So it has not generated a thumbnail yet, but after this is done, Cindy's going to generate the thumbnail and she will tell you how she does that. That will be uploaded there. We'll put it on our different playlists. Airstream how to. Say done. So this is where you have to have a couple radio buttons, so it's not made for kids. Okay, so this is where we put paid promotions in. You may notice our chain socks. That's not a paid promotion because it's our own product. So this is the new one for this year, the altered content. So this is any AI we've included in the video to alter the content that could trick somebody. So we'll say no to that. And then we basically just a few other things like our standard YouTube license and our category, which is travel and events. So we'll say yes. So it takes a lot of hard work to put this video together. So we're gonna say yes, we're gonna monetize this, watch some ads and do that. So we'll say next. And then we will add an end screen. This is that end screen, the seconds of every YouTube video. This allows you to click and subscribe or maybe be directed to one of our video. So we'll say save that. Cards are those little things that show up we can click on, but we're not going to have any for this video. YouTube will run a bunch of checks. We seldom have any issues there. And then for those of you that like to click first or not first, this is where we go ahead and schedule. Most of you will notice that we do upload, let's see, February 4th, that's Tuesday, every Tuesday. And then we upload at exactly 5 p.m. So 5 p.m. we'll schedule that. That will be scheduled. And they're still checking the video. So even if I said publish it right now, it wouldn't go live because they're still checking it to make sure it's good to go. And then we get that little box. And that's how we upload our videos to YouTube.
So the final step in making the video is what we think is one of the most important parts, is putting together the thumbnail. The thumbnail acts as a book cover per se for the video that will entice people to click through and to actually watch the video. So in this case, for this video, the background is actually one of the screenshots that we took from the video making process. I wanted to make sure our picture and the picture in the background were the same. So that's us in the front cut out of the video. And we just have to choose a title. And I always add the Luv Subbin logo at the end. We just want to go for a very consistent look. So there you have it. That's how we do our thumbnail.
Well, that's a wrap on how Luv Subbin makes a YouTube video.
So maybe you learned something about how we make a video, or in the very least, maybe you learned how to make butternut squash soup.
It was delicious. So if you like this video,
give us a big thumbs up. It really helps our channel.
And if you think we've earned a subscription, click to subscribe.
And comment below if you'd like us to take this further and talk about the analytics and how this video did.
Because we come out with RV and Airstream related videos and an occasional how-to like this one and a cooking video every Tuesday.
Thanks for watching.